Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with another episode of Rounding Second. I know it's been a while. Well, for those that don't know me, my name's Cole Wagner. Um, I like to talk about baseball and the Mariners. I'm a statistician, graduated from USF not too long ago. So I like to inject a little extra knowledge into you with, a little rundown of numbers, which, sounds boring, but I try to make it interesting. All right. Uh, I feel like in the last few episodes, I've gotten into a problem where I treat this more like a school project than like a podcast that I'm doing. I sound so monotone and boring. Who allowed me to do this? All of my friends, you need to tighten up and tell me how to do better because I listen to myself and dang, what am I doing? So I'm going to try to be a little more me, a little less robotic monotone. Whatever that turns into, I don't know, but I'm just trying to be more interesting because I feel like for retention, it's almost better to not always stay on topic like I'm trying to present in front of the class. All right. You are not my class. That is over. I'm done. I've graduated. But this is a really long intro. But one more thing. I had some technical difficulties, which is why I have not released a podcast in a few days. My monitor broke and it was just like a whole thing. And now I'm going out of town next week, so I have to record extra episodes today and tomorrow so I can, set those up on a schedule and get those out. It's going to be a whole project with work and stuff, which I have to leave in like, I don't know, an hour. So this is going to be super fun. All right, here we go. Let's get it rolling. First base, talking about the Mariners once again. We have Jorge Polanco in the lineup today. Oh, by the way, today's Monday. What's the date today? I don't even know. March 3rd. Monday, March 3rd. Jorge Polanco was in the lineup after being injured this offseason. People not sure he was going to be ready to go for the beginning of the season. He is de-aging. He's not playing third. Donovan Solano's been playing a lot of third base, at least a little bit, along with like Ben Williamson, who was playing it today. But Polanco just being in the lineup is really good. It's going to be interesting to see how he does, his approach is, how his timing's doing. I think he's going to have a better year than last year. I pray because historically he's been better. But we'll see what happens. I just need him to be like, okay, just don't be terrible like you were last year. And the kids are doing their thing for the Mariners this spring training. Feldman Celestin's playing great. He's so young. I cannot wait to see what he does in the minors this year. Laz Montez with 2 bombs already early in spring training. Come on, Laz. Come on. I know people are calling him tiny, or what are they calling him? Baby Jordan. That's lofty expectations, but I mean, I can kind of see it, man. He looks just like him. I can't even lie. It's crazy. But I mean, hey, shoot, good for you, Laz. Keep it up. I can't wait to watch more of you this spring and then, throughout minors. I'm excited for that kid's future. Also, Colt Emerson yesterday. Unfortunately, the game was not streamed, but a 14-pitch at bat where I think the announcers at least sounded like he took 3 balls deep, just foul on both sides. So I think he sent 2 out down left field and 1 out down right, which is wild. Colt Emerson has star potential, and I cannot wait for him to tap into that. Woo! So the Mariners are, they have some interesting things going on in spring training right now. I can't complain too much. They're playing okay. I'm seeing some good at-bats together. Obviously, it's up and down. That White Sox game started off a little rough when they got a little pounded. But it happens. It's spring, It's whatever. Luckily, those games don't count because, wow. But it's been interesting. I just like to see good, consistent at-bats. Like yesterday, Colton Julio with, 2 outs, saw, I think, 25 total pitches. We love that. That's what I like to see. I know we weren't driving in the runs yesterday, which is a separate problem, but I like to see good at-bats, all right? Get on base, get some work done. All right, moving into second base, something I missed over the weekend. Another Mets starter is down for a little bit. Sean Manaea strained his oblique, and man, those can linger. I mean, they never turn out well. I mean, I guess eventually they do, but like, if you don't treat them correctly and you try to push them, it probably won't turn out well. Like I said earlier with the whole Mets thing when Frankie Montas got injured, I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal, but now I do think it's a big deal because 2 of their better pitchers are now going to be out for at least the beginning of the season, moving into the middle of the season. And like, for a $300 million team, man, where is your pitching? Like, it hurts your ceiling so much just to not have good pitching. Like I know, but last year I think I did a little statistics test where tried to see which aspect is more important to wins on a baseball team. So it's like, is it ERA? Is it batting average? Is it home runs? Is it bullpen ERA? Like I tried to kind of narrow it down, and by far the most impactful one was starting rotation ERA. If anything is going to hinder the amount of wins you can attain this season, it's going to be starting pitching ERA. So I need the Mets, if you want to compete, you got to get some pitching, man. Like, what are we doing? I don't understand how you have this expensive of a roster, but such a low ceiling. It is wild. Like, they can recover, and they probably will still win a lot of games and compete in the NL East. I'm not saying they're not, but it's going to be shaky if these things continue to be a problem. Because injuries, I mean, every team has them, but some are get hurt more than others. It happens. So, like, man, I'm nervous for them. They're on shaky, thin ice, but whatever. I mean, that's their team, and they're going to have to roll with it. I still think they can play well because moving into third base, sticking in the NL East, man, the Braves, I'm so sorry. Like, y'all cannot catch an injury break. Sean Murphy got hit by a pitch on Friday and broke his rib, and he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. I know it's like the beginning of the season. It's not that much time, but dude, you might have like Kurt Casale taking at-bats for you to begin the season. That's not fun. No offense to Kurt Casale. He's great depth, but he's not Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy's so good, and having him crack a rib is just like not a huge issue in like by itself in a vacuum, but the Braves just have this history of injuries, and it's so tough for them, and I'm so sorry. Like my buddy's a big Braves fan. Dude, I am sorry. Like, I hope Acuna comes back and he's 100% like he was in 2023, because that dude was a demon in 2023. Holy cow. You did not want to see him on the base paths. But I mean, I just really hope this doesn't continue the trend forward and we start seeing more and more Braves injuries once again. That would just make me sad. I mean, I live in the South. I know a lot of Braves fans, and dude, it's been tough for them. I mean, ever since they won that World Series, they've been really good, but they just haven't been able to like get there, And I think injuries have played a huge part in that. They've built a great roster. They've extended their young core on very team-friendly deals. They run the business about as well as you can in the majors. So I just kind of feel bad that they're being hindered so much by this thing that they really can't control. It's so tough. But anyway, Sean Murphy is out for the beginning of the season. Don't think it's going to be a long-term issue, just a cracked rib. Not really a huge deal, but that would hurt a lot swinging the bat, tell you what. So that shouldn't hinder them too terribly, and I hope they can recover and play well. It's a battle of the injuries in the NL East right now. The Phillies, though, might come out on top of that. If the Mets and the Braves are kind of taking each other out or taking themselves out, the Phillies might just climb to the top again, and I mean, I wouldn't be shocked at all. But anyway, moving into home today. I've been doing research on this for the last 3 days because I noticed a trend specifically on Twitter, and I can't believe no one else is talking about this. It is such an obvious thing that no one is talking about. I'm sorry if there's any weird pauses. I have a big Python code thing on my second monitor here that I'm going to be referencing, and I will throw on the screen for my YouTube people. But on Twitter, all I've been seeing is, new record exit velo for this guy. New record exit velo for this guy. He hasn't hit a ball that hard in years. He, his record before was 110 in the StatCast era, and he just hit 112 2 weeks into spring training. And I'm like, dude, what is going on? Why is everyone suddenly Barry Bonds? Did everyone go to, did everyone go to the same gym and start doing insane workouts or something? Did they get abducted by aliens? I don't understand what's going on. So I dug into the numbers a little bit, and I only use spring training numbers. I didn't use any regular season numbers because I feel like that's disingenuous if I'm comparing across weird different ballparks because obviously the Arizona and Florida ballparks that they use for spring training are different than the regular season ballparks, unless the Blue Jays decide to play in Dunedin again. But the exit velocity on average, like the mean this offseason or this spring training, is way higher than it was last year and the year before and the year before. And it's like it doesn't sound like a lot. Okay. It's a 1 mile per hour. It's gone up from 88.5 to 89.5. And that doesn't sound like a lot. But if you don't remember, I'm a statistician and I can run a little test to see if it is significant or if it is just kind of random. And when I tell you it's not, I will tell you it is not. I ran the test and it is unequivocally, no question, something has changed. There is a difference, a significant underlying factor that has changed the overall exit velos. Because when you search across pretty much every batted ball, fly balls, ground balls, line drives, it does not matter. Exit velos are higher. So, you think the logical train of thought there, right? You're like, well, maybe they're throwing harder. I mean, sure, if they're throwing harder than ever and the balls are coming off the bat harder than ever, they would correlate. Nope. They are not throwing any harder this year at all. The pitching numbers are basically the same as they have been. So that's not it. What is happening? So you gotta. What are the So what are the implications? Sorry, I can't speak English sometimes. So what are the implications of this, right? Because if the balls are being hit harder, are there going to be more home runs? What's going on? And the answer is right now pretty much no. Luckily, we do have a lot more data this spring training because a lot of places added Hawkeye to get StatCast data. So my numbers are pretty similar all the way across. And like sample size wise, obviously this year's going to be a lot smaller so far, but it's still a lot. And don't get me wrong, might change. I will be monitoring the situation. But you have to think of the implications, right? You got to think balls are getting hit harder, going to be more home runs. Wrong. The home run rate's actually significantly down. I mean, just on fly balls. I didn't do all the way across, all batted balls. I just did fly balls. Way down from 2019, 2023, 2024. It's down. There's not nearly as much home runs per fly ball, which is weird because you'd think, if there's more hard hit balls, they're going to travel further, which means more home runs. It's very correlative. It should equal out. No. What I found very interesting is when you actually look at the average distance on fly balls, it's 10 feet shorter than it was in 2019 with like the juiced ball, and 5 feet shorter than 2023, and about a foot shorter than last year. So they're not flying as far, even though they're being hit way harder. So I have a little conspiracy theory, if you wanna bear with me here. I think the balls are different. I don't know if the exit velo is like maybe the balls are dry kind of a thing. I don't know what's going on. Okay, sorry. Little dog started barking. Someone came home. Don't worry about it. Where was I? So the fly balls are going not nearly as far, and I think they changed the ball. So hear me out. In 2019, when there was a juiced ball, right, the balls were flying further because of the reduced drag coefficient on the baseball. They weren't actually being hit harder. If you hear a dog barking, I'm so sorry. The balls were being hit the same, but they were traveling further because, the balls were just more aerodynamic. They were cutting through the air better. So they were just, the home run rate went way up that year. And so they altered them, decided to change it. Home run rate came back down. I think they've overcorrected this spring. I don't know if they're trying something else out. I don't know if it's like purposeful or not, but there is more drag on the baseball this spring, like considerably. And I think that's very interesting because that means not only are there going to be less home runs based on the same fly balls, which I do have the numbers for, and it is currently true, but that means balls from the pitchers are actually going to break more if there is more drag on the baseball. And so I have looked at sliders and curveballs specifically, but I just briefly looked at all of them, and it holds across all of them is the spin rate, which also greatly impacts breaking of pitches, is the same as it has been in the past couple years, but the breaking way more. Like curveballs the vertical break down on a curveball is significantly more this year than it was last year and especially in 2019 with that drag coefficient ball, and it's kind of crazy. Like when you even look at walk rate, right? Because if the ball's going to be a little more unpredictable, it's going to be hard to control it, right? Because if there's more break, the pitchers aren't used to it, so they're not going to be able to throw as many strikes. And I looked at that; the walk rate's up like 1.5% this so far in spring, and that I think is more susceptible to change because you got a lot of young pitchers pitching right now in spring, whatever. It's like the pitchers are getting their groove together. But I think it's really going to be interesting monitoring this because I think the balls are different. Everything I've done, and I've done a lot, mind you, tells me that the balls are different. They're being hit harder, which could be like a humidifier. The balls are drier kind of a thing. It definitely is not a player thing because it's all the way across the board. I don't think people are selling out just to hit balls as hard as they can. I think it is a perceptible issue based on the baseball. And I think that's super weird because what if that bleeds into the regular season? Are pitchers just going to be nastier? Like, is the Mariners pitching staff going to be extra disgusting? Are Rockies pitchers going to get better because the ball will actually break in Coors Field? That would be kind of cool for them. I'm not going to lie. But I will throw a lot of these numbers on YouTube if you're interested. It's going to be in that video. So if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whatever, and you want to look at the actual numbers, they're going to be on the screen as I'm talking through the last, 10 minutes I've been talking about this. It's going to be up there. And they are interesting to me, at least, because I'm a nerd. If you're not quite so nerdy, then, just hear me out, I guess. Because I think it's super weird. And I cannot wait to see how this progresses. I will be monitoring this very closely. And the only thing I want to say as a takeaway from this so far is everything you're seeing on Twitter, all the advanced statistics, all the stuff that's going on with pitchers and their stuff plus numbers and base hitters and their exit velo numbers and the home run distances, whatever, take everything with a grain of salt because something weird's going on. And I'm going to get to the bottom of it by the end of spring. And if the trend continues into the regular season, I will be on it. I will be first on the scene. You can bet on it. I'll be there. All right. So thanks for listening. That is the rabbit hole I went down today. And I really hope that you thought it's interesting too, because the ball, something's going on. And I don't know what it is. And I cannot wait to find out because something's happening. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Go Mariners. And I'll talk to y'all later.